what do you look at in order to determine the post rank of a blog post?
Right, so at the core of PostRank is what we call engagement. And it's very hard to judge what engagement means, but internally we've defined engagement to be anything that, or any interaction that a user can have with a post or an article. So what we do is we track engagement. The core of AideRSS is about aggregating all the metadata that we can find about each post. So for example, we track the number of views. If a publisher installs a widget on their page, we can see how many times the page has been viewed. Likewise, we can see how many times the page has been clicked on. Then we go out and search for additional data, stuff like how many people have bookmarked this story, how many people have wrote about the story, followed up in the conversation. Maybe somebody Twittered about this story, or shared it on Pounce, or bookmarked it in Magnolia. There's hundreds of these sources, and we go out and collect as much data as we can. And based on that data, on that metadata, we compute what we call an engagement score. And different types of interaction have different weight to them. So a very lightweight interaction might be a view. We can't say much about how much time you spent on this website. You viewed the page. Or you can also click on a page. Well, maybe that's more meaningful. Something like a comment requires a lot of investment, right? It means that you've probably read the post, you've thought about it, you want to share, or you want to engage in conversation. Twitter is a lightweight version of that, where you just say, hey, this is interesting, or you want to share it with your friends. So we aggregate all of those sources and say, well, a comment requires more engagement. So the actual underlying function of AideRSS, or the actual aggregation step, is to find all those values and compute what we call an engagement score. So every article gets an engagement score. Let's say there's one article which has an engagement score of 100 and one that's 50. So now we can compare two articles and say, well, this one received more attention from the community as a whole. Maybe it's based on more people have commented on article A versus article B, or maybe more people have bookmarked it. We reduce that to what we call an engagement score. And then there is the next step, which we call PostRank. So PostRank allows you to define a theme and then rate articles within that theme. Ranking is always about context, right? You can say, I want to rank these 10 articles within a theme, or I want to rank this article with respect to all other articles on the internet. Those are two very different metrics. So what PostRank allows you to do is to define context. So we say, okay, so you will have this article, and this author that published the articles in the past has this average engagement. And then based on that, we compute what the PostRank score is for the new article. So we compare the past performance of the author with the new performance of the author and say, if this article got higher engagement, well, the PostRank number is higher. So that's the feed-based ranking of PostRank. And there's also the thematic function, where we say, well, maybe you've just aggregated 10 articles about business in general. It's Ilya's top 10 articles about business, and now I want to rank them with PostRank. So you send us the 10 articles. They may be from CNN, it may be from Businessweek, it may be from a dozen sources, but it's your theme. And then you ask us, so what are the PostRanks of these stories with respect to each one? Mm-hmm. And we'll tell you that the article from Businessweek received a lot more attention than the one from CNN. And we'll go through the entire list and give you the PostRanks for each one. So it basically allows you to find out what the community is saying about that set of articles.
I take it that you're tweaking this all the time as you're learning on a day-by-day basis?
We're continuously adding new sources. That's a big area for us. So getting more widgets installed gives us more data about how people are interacting with content. Adding sources like Pounce and Twitter, these are all things that we're adding over time just to get a better grip on the community and what the community is doing as a whole. And likewise, we are sometimes tweaking the actual background computational step, where we say, well, based on the feedback that we received from our community, it seems that this source might have a higher weight as opposed to what we thought. So there's certainly some experimentation there.
Yeah, and adding things like Twitter and Pounce, I think you said, it's much more than blogs. Right. It's the total social media conversation.
Right, and we're trying to reach as far as we can. So we're looking at everything we can find: clicks, views, bookmarks, chatter, heavyweight conversations, everything we can find.
Well, AideRSS, it's a really interesting story so far, and I hope you're on your way to much more success. I find it a useful tool, and I know a lot of other people I talk to do as well.
Awesome.
Thanks,
you.
Ilya.